What is the sad truth about smart people? There's different levels of smartness and different smart people go about life in different ways. But, I think universally young prodigies are typically isolated. They are at a level far above children their age, but are far younger than the people that match intellectually with, lacking life experience. Either way, a young prodigy can't connect with either group. This is dead on accurate. I went to engineering school with a 12-year-old. His parents had to attend classes with him because his motor skills couldn't keep up with the note-taking requirement. He was a nice enough kid, but those of us 18 plus couldn't relate to him outside of school, and he couldn't relate to kids his own age. Seemed like an awfully lonely existence. Yeah, we had a kid like this in my freshman physics classes too, except this kid was annoying to boot. He would have been the annoying kid in a regular group of 12 to 13-year-olds, so it was extra frustrating to have him in a college classroom. I felt bad for him, but the couple of conversations I tried to have with him went nowhere fast. I stopped talking to him entirely beyond a basic hi after he took my initial willingness to talk before class as permission to bug me about his toys during lecture. Interestingly, my sophomore roommate was another prodigy, but her parents made sure she wasn't socially isolated and only enrolled her in university full-time when she was 16, almost 17, and mature enough to bond with us. They kept her in a regular school, though advanced by 2 years, that offered lots of APS and community college courses. They nurtured her intelligence when she was younger by encouraging her to branch out and learn and do all kinds of things, not just academics, so she's a fascinating person to talk to and very well adjusted socially. If I have a prodigy child, this is the approaching plan to take. The approach your roommate's parents took is exactly what my aunt and uncle did with one of their daughters. She is 6 months older than me and far exceeded me in school, but they would not allow her to start college until she turned 17. She now has a child similar to her and sees the value of how her parents handled it. She is doing the same with her son. I firmly believe this is the best path for these people. She is significantly more well-adjusted than the college kid I was educated with. Out of curiosity, would there be no negative side effects? Like, intellectually, would the kid be satisfied with the app courses and all? No doubt that socially and emotionally, this is the best route, though. Her son is 11 and doing quantum physics for fun. He is allowed to take one college course each semester, but she won't let him move up more than 2 grades because he needs the social development. This makes even more sense when you consider the idea that there are several intelligences that don't all involve academic subjects. Inter and intrapersonal being important ones that come to mind. Even beyond that, one of my best friends is a little slow. He was in the special ed classes, but when it comes to engines and working on cars, Hess a genius. He just knows how all that stuff works. I'm fairly mechanically inclined, but Hess on a whole other level. If I have an issue with one of my vehicles I can't figure out, then I call him up and we get it solved quickly. He was also brilliant at geometry, which helped him build roll cages for his rock crawlers. Haha. Dude, people like your friend blow my mind. I tried to assemble a 3-piece desk last week and literally cried because I hate how my brain just looks at shapes and totally short circuits. All I can assume is I missed the day in kindergarten where they put shapes in the right hole, because I can't even align the simplest shapes easily. Expectations. This is the killer. If you are gifted, having an average life is seen as a failure. I always found a life of crime is the best way around this. Maybe vigilantism? There are different types of intelligence. Being good at physics doesn't mean that you should manage people. I'm really good at math, getting a PhD in statistics right now. I once worked for one afternoon as a busboy and it was legitimately the most difficult thing I've ever done because I'm just not built for that. Mad respect for people that don't crumble under immediate stress in social situations. Similar for me. I've been good at math since I was young and I've recently completed my master's course in pure math. I've been working part-time in a warehouse, and when I got asked to do the supervisor's job one day, I had never felt so dumb in my life. This humility is invaluable. Recognizing that you are so much better at certain things than other people, but they have strengths and perspectives you should value and respect will make you a much better person, co-worker, parent, or whatever else you want to be. Also, recognizing you are legitimately bad or mediocre at some things gives you opportunity to grow and be less bad at them. Edit, because it needs to be said too, confidence and humility actually go hand in hand. You have to truly and deeply accept your own strengths, worth, and contributions, confidence, to really be able to value other people's strengths, worth, and contributions, humility. Too often we confuse humility with low self-esteem or self-deprecation, but they are entirely different. Not being inherently competitive but able to be crushed instantly by failure. That fear of failing can end up being crippling for many when they don't ever face it. They are full of doubt compared to people who are not smart. The whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts. B. Russell. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. William Butler Yeats. They don't always find ways of living up to their potential. To add to this, they're often told they should live up to their potential simply because it exists. The number of times myself and some of my current MSc colleagues have been told we are wasting our potential by not being physicians is soul-crushing, and demeaning because it implies that pursuing anything other than the hardest, highest paid disciplines is a waste of you, regardless of what makes you happy. Truly sad to see smart people in careers or lives they hate because they did what other people told them they should do. In careers or lives they hate because they did what other people told them they should do, cries an lawyer. I got a law degree in the wake of the Great Recession, couldn't find a decent job out of undergrad in 2009, because I was smart and was pushed into getting a prestigious degree that would definitely make me a lot of money someday. And I had a good LSAT and good grades to get into a good school. The problem is that I don't actually like reading or writing and didn't have a passion for the material either. I barely graduated, but passed the bar just fine, always been good at tests like that, but my grades were too bad to get an actual good paying job and I did contract work for peanuts for several years. I finally decided to bite the bullet and go into the courier business like my dad because he actually does make six figures and has a good life, and that stuff interests me a lot more. In the meantime, I'm delivering Amazon while I work on getting my CDL, and I also have a side job at a bar, only way I can make enough money, and some of my bar regulars are always like, "You have a JD, what on earth are you doing delivering for Amazon?" My reply is always just, "Well, I hated that and I make the same amount of money doing this." Lawyer when you don't like reading or writing, bold move. Glad you're in a good spot now. Yeah, not the best decision making at age 22. I got a DUI when I was 22. A lot of them are depressed. This is what I've seen most. And too many try to deaden it with substances. I've always noticed how people with addiction problems seem to be ridiculously smart. Intelligence increases novelty-seeking behavior, which easily leads to substance abuse problems. I'd say intelligence also makes one realize how ducked up our world and human existence is. If that doesn't drive a person to want to deaden that existential dread with substances, I don't know what would. They have no effect on dumb people's opinions. Persuasion, like teaching, is definitely a separate skill from intelligence. You can throw around facts and logic all you want, but humans aren't robots. And what they consider factual and logical, may not be so. Our school system, Australia, isn't built to deal with them. It crushes bright kids down to everyone else's level. The usual solution is just to give them extra work to do on top of the assigned work, when they finish that too fast. But to a kid, that's a punishment. In this way, achieving beyond a certain accepted parameter is quietly discouraged. Pretty sure that's the same everywhere. My youngest child is in kindergarten, us first year of school. For some reason he picked up math and is always working on it, like challenging us to give him math questions to solve and challenging us to see if he can stump us. Anyways, he complains a lot about doing math assignments in school because they are super boring. At first his teacher let him work ahead on his own and he started doing first grade then second grade math. But for some reason she rescinded that offer and now just gives him more kindergarten level math when he's done with his first boring assignment, so to him that is a punishment. The school is teaching him to be average and conform, otherwise you'll be punished for running ahead. One reason for that is the teachers have no training to manage gifted students, and usually they only have one teacher for all the subject areas until at least high school, else, so having even one gifted student would put a bunch of extra strain on the teachers and they aren't compensated any extra for it. Lack of training is part of it, but I think that's getting better. My wife is a teacher, and she certainly received good training on teaching gifted students when she was in college. Another piece of the puzzle is resources. It's a lot of work to appropriately adapt curriculum for a gifted student, to not just give more work or more advanced work but to extend and enhance the current work. And when you have 30 students in your first grade class, you just don't have the time to put a bunch of extra work into adapting the curriculum for outliers. Especially the outliers that are going to get excellent test scores no matter what. It's a triage situation where the teacher is forced to focus on those kids who have marginally low test scores that might actually hit average with a little extra attention. Want better education for gifted students? Don't incentivize educational triage by tying individual teachers' jobs to oversimplified performance metrics, and hire more teachers to bring class sizes down.